Okay, now I will proceed with the trends, and now I will explain about the 3 trends that are happening in MTUC. The first trend is MTUC calls for RCI, which stands for Royal Commissions of Inquiry on Influx of Foreign Workers. As we all know, in Malaysia nowadays there are many foreign workers, and the Human Resource Minister revealed that there are more than 6 million foreign workers in this country. This is because the employers employ the foreign workers because most of the Malaysian workers have bad attitude, lazy, choosy, demand high salaries, and don't show up for work. So they prefer to employ foreign workers. The next trend is employers obliged to train low-skilled workers after profiting from them. This is said by MTUC. Okay, this responding to a report by Hazana Research Institute of CRIS. The MTUC, or which stands for Malaysian Trades Union Congress, agreed with the report, finding that despite significant growth in productivity, wages were not rising in tandem, due in part to the lack of bargaining power of low-skilled labor and over-reliance on cheap labor or competitive advantage. And besides that, workers who contributed to company productivity was entitled to share of revenue just like anyone else in the organizations. Last but not least, it is moral obligations for the employers then to give proper educations and training to his employees so that they can improve themselves. And if an employer fails to do that, it is unfair because these companies are making revenue from them. The third trend is MTUC calls for strict enforcement of new retirement age minimum and minimum wage. And for all, as we know that this country, Malaysia, has enforced the new retirement age that for 60 years for private sector's employees that came into force on July 1st last year. Congress and MTUC had received complaints that many companies were not complying with the new regulations, and the minimum wage in Peninsula still not being paid the minimum wage, which is 900 per month for Peninsula Malaysia and 800 for Sabah and Sarawak.
I will proceed to the problems and challenges of MTUC. The first problem of MTUC is the lacking of welfare and the well-being distribution to the workers. The workers nowadays are lacking of attention by the government, and this is a crucial problem that Okay, I will proceed to the problems or challenges of MTUC. The first challenges of MTUC is the lacking of welfare and the well-being distributions to the workers. The workers nowadays are lacking of the attention by the government, and this is a crucial problem that needs to settle up, especially by the MTUC. The second problem is facing the problem of increasing number of migrant workers in Malaysia. MTUC has blamed the lack of coordination with Home and HR ministries because of the problem of undocumented foreign workers in Malaysia. HR Minister recently said that of the 5.8 million migrant workers in Malaysia, only 2.9 million were undocumented. The third problem is with the problem of neutrality. Many said that the MTUC has lost their neutrality. The government and ruling parties prefer MTUC to remain apolitical because they know what an angry working class can do to them. Next is recommendations for the problems or challenges. The first recommendations is to improve the welfare and the well-being of the 11.2 million workers nationwide. Second is improve coordination between the Home and HR ministries to curb the undocumented foreign workers in the country. The last one is straighten up its neutrality by the roles of MTUC leaders.
Okay, I will proceed with current issues on Malaysia Trade Union Congress. The first issue is MTC to protest against union busting. Okay, MTUC was submitted a memorandum urged the Bar Council and Human Rights Commission of Malaysia (SUHAIMI) to urge that the government stop infringing and union rights and as well as introduce law to prevent employer from committing such violence. Okay, MTUC representing the employees or worker who are dismissed without reasonable excuse. Unions busting become a trend when employer discontinue, terminate, remove their employee who involved in trade union activity organized legally. The second issue is protest short chains workers. Okay, it is related to Malaysian airline system and Berhad Mas and major shareholder National Berhad. So MTUC want Mas or not to shortchange the 66,000 airline employee who may be made redundant under its overhaul plans. Since MTUC is Malaysia's biggest labour union, they concern on Malaysia airline system employees and their family. So MTUC said that restructuring plan by Khazanah for Malaysia Airlines is not proper and it is still not transparent on the issue of the retirement of Malaysia Airlines employees. So MTUC do not want to see Khazanah restructuring process affecting the productivity and efficiency of the employees. The third issue is MTUC 300 ringgit Malaysia cost of living allowance or COLA. Okay, MTUC proposing 300 monthly cost of living allowance for all 10 million private sector workers in view of escalating price. Okay, Khalid Atan said that it was essential for government to introduce COLA because almost 5 million private sector workers just earning about 13 above the poverty line of 870 per month. So MTUC was working out strategy to help ease the worker burdens. The last issue is MTUC call for 5 days work weeks for private sector. MTUC asked the government to make it compulsory for private sector to implement a 5-day work weeks in increase productivity. Okay, it's helped to streamline the working days with government agency, department and the financial institutions. MTUC said that Human Resources Ministry should take the initiative to educate this business on the benefit of 5-day work weeks, which is private leisure and quality time for employees to be with their friends and improve overall job satisfaction and quality of life.
Now, we will proceed to the trends of the cuepecs. They have two trends. First is the salary. Cuepecs always raise up about salary issues. One of the most frequent issue is cuepecs ask for a salary increment for public servants. For example, in budget 2015, there is no salary increment, but as always, cuepecs are demanding for salary increment in 2015 and ask government for considerations about the issue. Besides that, cuepecs also demand for raising the bonus, and they also hope should increase the bonus for 2 months' salary, but the government only agreed to raise about half month's salary. Second is the housing issue. Cuepecs also fight to tackle the problem of the people inability to own a house. Low-income earners will continue to rent a house if the problems are not settled by the government. Government has concerns about cuepecs advice on housing issue for the public servants. So, in budget 2015, government come up with new minimum limit of housing loan, which is increased from RM80,000 to RM120,000, and the maximum qualifications unit from 450,000 to RM600,000. Besides that, Skim Perumahan Penjawat Awam Satu Malaysia will be increased by 10,639 units of house. We proceed to the current issue. New minimum wages for public servant 2015. Some civil servants still receive a minimum salary at least than RM800, and they are considered as being under the poverty line. Hence, cuepecs called the government to raise the minimum salary to RM1,200 because the young workers need a bigger house to stay and raise their children in a more conducive living conditions.
Proceed to the problem that happened in cuepecs. One of the problem is cuepecs member salary. Cuepecs continues to propose the 30% salary increment so that none of its members will live under poverty lines. Aziz Muda said cuepecs should continue to champion the problem of rising cost of living, hunting it more than 1.5 million members in the country. So what we can give as recommendation is cuepecs should have more meeting with Minister of Human Resource in order to have better discussion on term and suggestion they have brought. Besides that, government must take action and consideration on the issue that have been brought. It is because cuepecs cuepecs represent the people who work for government, which is the public servant. Moreover, this public servant is important as they was the core for the government to operate. Okay, that's all. Thank you.